And we are back. Give me a second. Can I pull out? Am I good? Looks like it. How's it going? Red light. My stomach's been real. Yeah, we're gonna start the journal part. Yeah, stomach's been a little weird. I'm like eating fine, but sometimes like I will take a bite of something that's like normal. Like we just got bananas from the store, and then I'll take a bite of the banana, and then I'll feel like kind of throw up sick for like half a second, and then like, you know, I stop and I like, am I good? And then it goes away, and then I can eat the rest of the banana fine, and then it like resets the next time I take a bite. So I don't really know what's going on with that. Hopefully it's nothing serious. It's just like a weird mental thing. I don't know. Maybe I've been eating less, so maybe, I don't know, just being on like an empty stomach more is kind of making my stomach weird, a little unusual. I'm not sure. As far as my stream content, this stuff goes, nothing too crazy. Just yesterday I only streamed for an hour or two, just played some Hitman, that was it. Nothing else particularly. I'm just like, God, I'm so ready for the Deadlock update. I'm fucking shaking in my little booties, man. I want to play it so bad. I wonder if they're going to do the 6-character rollout like they did the last time, where you have to... There's 6 characters coming out, they release 1 character, and then you get to vote after you play a game to vote for another character, and they come out next week. And I'm really curious on if they're going to do that again, because not that it wasn't super exciting. I think it is really cool, but it is also kind of sucky that like sometimes you just have to wait 6 weeks to get the character that you wanted from the get-go. I had this issue with the first rollout where the first character who came out, I think was, I want to say it was Paige, but it might have been Mina. I'm not too sure. I'm blanking. Who was the 6th guy? Victor Drifter. Oh, Doorman. I want to say it was Mina who came out first. Although it might have been Drifter, but I'm pretty sure. No, because I voted for Drifter. I think it was definitely Mina. And I wasn't super into Mina when she first came out. I like her a lot more now. Now that I've played her more. But I really didn't fuck with her the first week, so I didn't really play much, which was a shame. And to be honest, I really didn't fuck with any of the characters at first, except Victor, which sort of sucks. I feel like I'm forgetting someone. Was there only 5 characters? Oh, Billy, yeah, fuck. The only one I fucked with was Victor. The Victor was like the last motherfucker who came out. So I kind of played like the day a character came out, and then I just didn't really play for a week because I just wanted to play the character who interests me. So I don't know. Well, we'll see how it goes. We haven't really seen the kits of any of these new characters, but I do think I'm going to like a lot of them more off the get-go. I'm going to have to pass this guy. He's going 50 to 65 on a road that people go 80 in. Rem's going to be fun. I'm probably not going to play him a lot because it's a support character, and I don't find the support characters too engaging in Deadlock because I feel like it's a game where, at least on my rank, I kind of need to play hyper carries in order to win, which sucks, but I don't know. Maybe if I ever hit higher elo, that can kind might like. I like Fiora. He seems to have a similar play style. Really depends on his numbers, I think. Graves is a summoner. I'm not gonna like her, but I think she might be like fun to play for a game or two. Venator and Silver, I think, are gonna be fun. I'm probably gonna like Venator the most. Silver kind of seems a little too much like Shiv for my liking, and I think Shiv is really good. I think he's actually kind of broken, but I don't think he's too fun to play. And Celeste is a wild card. I have no idea what her fucking deal is. I might like her a lot. I might not. I don't know. We'll see on that front. Yeah, that's it. I put on a stream tonight. Probably just more Hitman. I have nothing else really planned. It's supposed to get really cold here. Like negative, I think 5, negative 10 Fahrenheit, somewhere in that range. I think in the next few days it's gonna, it's supposed to hit negative 11 tonight. And then like tomorrow it's supposed to get like the high max value is 1 degree Fahrenheit. So it's gonna get real cold. I think I have all my winter stuff inside. I'll probably have to check. But yeah, work is good this week. A lot of hours, and they're having issues with one of the clerks. So she might quit or be fired or move. Like a big enough issue where like 2 of the clerks can't work on the same shift anymore. So she might move, and which means that's a lot. I can cover her shift until they hire someone else, which could take like months. So I might be jet chilling for a while. I don't know. As far as the other thing I want to talk about, I wanted to keep talking about what I was talking about yesterday, and kind of what I want America to be, or other things about America that I think are particularly frustrating when it comes to its layout. So I mentioned yesterday a little bit about the size and power distribution of the states. Part of the apologies. Part of the problem, and I have long since said this about America, is I just wish every fucking state was its goddamn own little country. Not particularly because like I think smaller countries are like better, or that like, but because of the potential of influence is so much easier when you're just in a smaller area, or like even a closer area. Like that's what, it's kind of crazy. Like just to go to Washington D.C., I would have to, and this is like to fly, which is probably honestly the cheapest way of getting there. I'd probably have to spend a solid $600. Probably like one way. Nah, maybe both ways. Probably like $600 both ways. Which is kind of criminal, because like that's a lot of money just to go there, much less like any sort of like if I need to bring stuff, if I need to probably not stay at a hotel, but at least like maybe camp out or something. Like it gets expensive very quick. Which is one of the main reasons that like leftist grassroots movements in America have not gone so well. Is because like we don't really have big economic powerhouses to back us. At most, the big economic powerhouses, most of them back Republicans. It's the only reason conservatives have any foothold in America at all. Like they get wicked amount of donations, and they get fucking advertisements, and they get streaming platforms and this general platforms like fucking the conventions and whatnot. And it's all like such little amount of it comes from like conservative like voters. Most of it comes from huge donations by like the 1% and like trust funds and hedge funds. Not trust funds, yeah, hedge funds, and like those kind of like stockbroking type like people, because and it's essentially just bribery. The American like lobby where like corporations can donate to people's campaigns is one of the actually like it is the ultimate kickoff of the downfall of America. Yeah, like, dude, Fox, like, our media is entirely funded by like these billionaire oligarchs who have a vested interest in like not promoting leftist ideals. It's why, like, right now, one of the largest like strikes ever is occurring in Michigan, and no one has heard a word about it. Yet the No Kings protest, which like the media accurately saw as like a kind of nothing burger parade almost, without actual real power, got a shit ton of coverage because not only could they get a bunch of clicks on it because No Kings was like a policyless, like no victim sort of conflict versus like the strike, which is people will like very few people actually will like oppose auto workers striking for higher wages. And so not only does like the news media not make as much money off of it, of like covering it, but also like their owners have a vested interest in not covering it because they don't want to show that like strikes are even like a thing can happen, that they work and improve lives. And these sorts of things are so much easier to tackle when your scale is smaller. Like, Michigan is covering it, and especially the local towns are covering it. You know who's not covering it? Like, fucking Fox 86 at 1 in Texas. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to cover it. Like, national news is such a strong barrier, or unless you're really tapped in, like, algorithm-wise to things like strikes or whatnot, or, like, no reputable sources who are, it is impossible to like actually spread messages around like that, which is hard because that's something that like I think older movements were able to handle a lot better, because for the most part, like, any sort of protest or revolution, or like not revolution, there's few of those post like 1890, but like a lot of the like, god damn, slow ass people, bro. It's a 50, you're going 50 and a 65 on a road where people go 80. What are we doing? Is that like a lot of the times they would force pressure onto the governor, and the governor would make statewide change, and like eventually it kind of got to the federal level, kind of once enough states were captured, and then like obviously like the big like hub for protest where a lot of the people were like East Coast near capital type things. Something that's also occurred, though, in the last 100 years is that power has been more and more consolidated to the federal level, partially for good reason, because on the states where the protest didn't work, the lives of those people fucking sucked. We see that now with, like, once Roe v. Wade was overturned, all these southern states are just, like, actually terrible conditions for women, like, surrounding pregnancy. It's, like, actually, like, drinking, like, it's fucking like, it's not even like third world. It's worse than that. It's fascist shit. And so, and like no amount of protesting in like Florida, which happened, like there were pretty large like Roe v. Wade protection protests. In fact, Florida is such a great example because Florida has had so many protests by its pretty much like almost majority Democratic base in its big social hubs, and yet the state is still conservative as fuck due to like redistricting and the way Florida holds power. Like Florida can just say no, like we're not gonna do these things, and nothing really stops them because they got the backing of the federal government. And also some of these things are kind of out of like the state's hands to even make correct because they're changes at a federal level. They're definitely like pushing the boundary more. Like certain states are deciding not to do anything, which is an option, And like the correct option is to not change your statutes that you made under like Roe v. Wade federal law. But there's so many protests there, and just nothing has occurred because like you kind of have to hit the federal level. But the federal level like sorta doesn't exist. It's not like I love when like people are like, yeah, like you make sure you call your Congress people about like certain things at like a federal level. And it's like, and by the way, like that's definitely a good thing. You should, because on the odd chance you do influence something, I mean, it's fantastic. But people say it as if it's like you call the person and it's their like stopgap duty to listen to you and actually kind of try to like think about your like what you're asking for and try to accomplish it, when it's just like, no man, senators aren't out here like listening for that. The only reason they would listen is if it's something they think that it, like, dude, fucking god, holy shit, man, I'm driving with his fucking lights on, dumbass. I can't see. But like the idea that like a senator will only do what he thinks like he needs to do in order to kind of keep like some of his base around to win the next like primary or midterms. If your like ask is too far outside of that, like they're not gonna do shit. Like I understand the desire, and like by the way, it should work. Like you should be able to call your congressperson and like have a chat with them about an issue that you think is important and care about, and your congressperson should listen to you, at least listen to you and at least consider it, and like maybe not do what you asked for, but at least like, I don't know, try to bake it in or alter it in some way to be beneficial. That's how, like, that is their purpose, but that's just not what happens, because that's not how like power works in like politics. Like one of the things that cracked me up is people who live in like Minnesota or whatever. Minnesota's a bad example with Democrats. Let's go with North Dakota. People are like North Dakota, like talking about calling their congressperson to try to get like a Israel, like Gaza, like Palestine ceasefire, and it's like that is a good cause, and goddamn, and like the congressperson could help do that, but it's like, holy shit, bro, yeah, man, I'm sure your conservative congressman is gonna like actually listen to your letter and take it like seriously. And then like the idea that then that is like ideal bare minimum political action, it's kind of like you're not wrong, but at the same time it's such a like a measure of futility, where like, yeah, man, in the same way that like good action is for me to stand on like the side of the street with like a sign that is like, you know, Israel Palestine like ceasefire, even if there's no one around me, like that is a good action. Is that going to like alter the political climate of America even like a fraction of a percent? No. But there's this idea that like if you have enough people doing it, it will. But that's also not true, because the only way enough people do it is if you are able to threaten their base of power. But the base of power is so spread out and so protected by like every institution of the government that it's nearly impossible to do it. Like I talked yesterday about like the military force. I barely even touched on our like information state, where like literally everything, like this video right now recording, if they really wanted to, like the FBI just has access to. If I was just like be like, yeah, hey, on like January 10th, fucking 2027, I'm going to place a bomb in the trash can of the kitchen floor of the White House or whatever. Like, even without uploading the video, the FBI just has access to that if they really felt like it. The only reason they don't act on it is because, frankly, they just don't care enough until it gets a little more serious. Like, actually hitting some sort of... And by the way, this doesn't just go for, like, phone stuff either, man. Like, mail is, like, checked through. There's cameras fucking everywhere. Your driver's license, like, tickets you buy. Like, you are perma-tracked everywhere you go. Like, there is no such thing as like, again, unless you just happen to luck into like meeting 6 like-minded people in like a coffee shop in the town you live in. There's no way of like getting like these like kind of 40s to 1980s sort of like basement activist groups who would like get together and actually plan like violent revolt actions or whatnot. And by the way, even back then the CIA was on their ass, much less like today. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a we live in a dictatorship, and we have like low key for a while. We just have like sort of a we just have like just enough, like barely enough rules where it feels like we can change stuff, but ultimately what we do is we just kind of elect the next like the sort of the next dictator, and not dictator in like a pure like fascist monarch type of sense where it's like one guy who has a bunch of power, but like the entire government apparatus is separate from the citizens. They kind of do whatever they want for the most part, as long as they sort of as long as they sort of give off the vibe that they're trying to do the right thing for the people, which is exactly what dictators do, by the way. It's not like that's something that's also like funny about like the uniquely evil point of view. It's not like Hitler was out in the streets being like, yeah, I'm killing all the Jews, I'm just a murderer, I'm like a criminal. No, every time he talked about it, he's like, we are temporarily relocating the Jews who are evil and do want to kill us, and we're just doing preemptive action to save your future children. And it's like, it's not like it's not obvious in its like lack of consideration for the average person. They drape it up in language and whatnot, which makes it like impossible for the average dumbass citizen to realize what's actually occurring. Which is why just like information spreading is so important, and it's also why I think education's so important. God fucking damn, man, look at my face, it's so right. I don't know. It cracked me up today. I'm scrolling Twitter as I do, and I found, I shit you not, an entire thread of Canadians just talking about how like bad the US is, and I'm not joking. Someone literally goes, yeah, but America, like your country, as in like America, is like uniquely evil. Why can't you address this? And it's like, oh, okay, we're literally doing like the Germans were uniquely evil, not like byproducts of it, like any sort of systemic force or whatnot. Like, it blew me away. I was like, and this was someone who like in their fucking bio was like principled leftist, like Maoist, anarchist / like 18 BL or some shit. Minors do not interact. And I was like Free Palestine or something. And I was like, how are you so cooked? Like, how are you so far removed from basic, like, philosophical principles surrounding globalism and stuff? I don't know. It blows me away. Oh, I also wanted to elaborate on that, too. So something else I also saw a lot was how, this idea that, like, America shouldn't be defensive, because like it's nationalist in nature, and I don't entirely disagree with that. I think there's a lot of nationalist sentiment going on for people who kind of get a little too defensive when like people are like, America's like a monster, because it's true, and like a lot of people's gut reaction is like, I live in this country, I try to make this country good, so like saying sort of hyperbolic statements about it like makes me feel sad or whatever, without realizing that what the sentiment they're feeling there is kind of nationalism in a sense. But you know, again, I think it happens on both sides and whatnot. But one thing I saw was, by the way, I am so fucking nationalist. The only reason you would ever see me like caring about my country technically is just that I by minuscule amounts have more power to enact better change in my country than like other countries. Just because like there's a I forget what it's called exactly. There's a what is the term? It's not really a term. It's more of a set of thoughts. Anyway, there's sort of this like proximity of power type of deal where like and I think it's real intuitive, obvious. Like it's pretty obvious, but like the closer you are in relation to someone or like something, the more influence you have in it. As well as like the less people who have influence on that thing, you obviously have more of as like a percentage value. So like friends and family, like yourself, you have the most influence in, most power over. Your friends and family are like second. Third is like, I don't know, clubs and shit you're in. Fourth is like you're just kind of like local community. Fifth is like a city, county, state, region, then like country, like country neighbors, country like allies, continent, and then like you get to like the world or whatnot. And so like the only value of calling myself as an American, or like value in that, is that I can technically influence America better than I can say fucking Singapore. But like that is only a byproduct of current existing borders and countries. My ideal is that borders don't exist. I fully believe like no borders, free immigration, emigration anywhere. Like, but where I think some people get sort of shifted up is they think that the idea is like smaller communities, which is fine on paper because like I was saying, like you do have more influence and power there, and therefore like stronger community can enact better change. But I think we're kind of way past that. We're past the Rubicon on that, where the two big issues is like one, same issue kind of as I was talking about with certain states, where it's like smaller communities, while yes you do have larger influence in, so do like terrible fucking people, where you can end up with communities like who are dominated by terrible people, and then the few people's lives in that community fucking suck. And you need some sort of stopgap against that. And something that I believe in too is like if you were to take the aggregate average of all individuals, most people like are/want to be good/progressive/ like make people's lives better and easier, more so than like they are on the more selfish side of like get my money up, no one else's money up, fuck those guys. The only reason it doesn't seem like that sometimes is because a lot of times the scenario is presented as you can get your money as long as you stop this person from getting their money, and they're like, well shit, I guess I gotta get my money. My nose is stuffed. But the other reason that I'm a big proponent of globalism, where I think we need like more like one world government type shit, is just that the way we have developed over the last like, I don't know, 300 years, mainly due to colonialism. Let's all like keep that in mind too. Unfortunately, is that like we really can't downsize anymore. Like so many countries, especially like right post-industrial era, so many countries and communities are completely reliant on like trade routes and lines with other countries and like areas, that like trying to downgrade, which even if it's not the goal, will like sort of isolate yourself a little more from other areas. Like it's just not sustainable. Like in America, both urban and rural areas cannot survive, not just without each other, but mainly other countries. Which, real quick aside, rural countries are fucking dead. The frame urban, like rural areas are like did the frame urban areas like look away from them. Rural areas are like completely 100% subsidized by urban areas. It's actually kind of disgusting. Anyway, but you just can't really go smaller anymore. I just think you have to go bigger, and as such, your individual power in politics will get more diminished. But again, I believe that everyone kind of wants the like best thing for all people, and so and like this mainly just better material conditions for everyone. And so by like uniting under larger, broader, even maybe less defined like borders and barriers, you're gonna more likely trend to better outcomes as long as there is like sufficient structures in place for you to interact with the few who will have power, which is like the politicians under this sphere. Like unironically, on God, the best kind of like system is like it's a democratic system. Which, by other quick aside, I don't know if people know this, but like America isn't a direct democracy. Like we don't actually one-to-one vote for who candidates are and for policies and shit. A lot of it is like completely out of the hands of the average citizen. I think that's something that like kind of gets lost on people sometimes too, where it's like other countries, like when they vote for their federal Congress, for example, they kind of hit their vote either for like their person or their party, and then like lets it go from there. I have no control over literally like the 500 or so Congress people, like 550. I have control over maybe like 12 of them, and my control is like a vote. You know what I mean? Like the power is so diluted. But as long as there's structures in place, which is why I think the best system, unironically, is like a democracy in which each individual like votes for a bill. There should be like presidents and Congress people or whatever shouldn't be there to actually make like pure executive decisions. They should be essentially middlemen to make sure like bills get written and proposed and passed and like certified and followed, and that's what their job should be, not on whether or not like the bill is made like not like they shouldn't be judge, jury, executioner over themselves essentially, which is kind of what government is now, especially when it has a three-house trifecta like it currently does. But in the ideal system, like you would have bills come out, and maybe they're localized in the sense of like, like I don't really need to put my vote on the water, like how many dams should be built in Egypt or whatever. I don't live over there. So, it could be localized in that sort of sense, but like then it makes more sense because borders are then drawn not necessarily by like country, like arbitrary country lines, but more just like actual practical like geology type area groupings instead, which would also make more sense. But I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. Politics is hard because you're battling kind of a lot of people, and at the moment there's still not infinite resources. We haven't really cracked that yet, although we're getting closer and closer. It's still gonna take like 300 years or whatever plus. Not in my lifetime. So as long as there's like still potential resource shortages, there'll still be like fights. But the second that resources stop being like an issue, whether either through again, just our ability to make and produce things and pull things out of, I don't know, science type deal. If we ever are able to just mine asteroids, for example, for like every precious mineral imaginable type beat. Or we just get so good at using materials, like so efficient, that even the limited ones we have, like, are more or less just fucking infinite. Like there'll still be conflict and scuffles over those resources, but the second that disappears, because a lot of people's material conditions are they're not just better, it's almost like solved. Like, we're gonna get to a point eventually, as like, unless we kill ourselves first, humanity will get to a point at some point in history where we have like more food than anyone on Earth could ever eat, and at that point, like, the value of food completely loses its meaning, where we have to shift. I think it's gonna happen to a lot of things. Same thing with water, same thing with air. I don't know. Yeah. Which is why, like, none of this is going to happen in my lifetime, which is kind of also why I'm a little apathetic to a lot of things going on. But one thing that I am not apathetic on, that I think we need to get going ASAP, is like just better education. The better people are at just even the like idea of learning, like the loose process of learning, just the better the things are gonna be for the world. Smarter people make better decisions for themselves. They understand how to handle themselves better. They know more, so they know what's better for their interests. And so just the more educated people are, it's just the better like the world is gonna be. That's why, like, even though Biden completely dropped the fucking bag, rest in fucking hell, hope the cancer kills him, I will still like run for bat for university, like free college, free public, especially free public schools, free lunches for school kids. Like, there should, like, teachers should be paid better. There should be like more funds given for like tutors and stuff to help kids who are struggling, and like the domino effect of that sort of thinking too is like, okay, what helps kids like do the best in school? Well, they need food, they need water, they need clothes and shelter, which will get rid of, and they need good health care, which gets rid of a lot of other sub issues. And then also, like, they need good, like they need the entire pyramid of good, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, in order to actually be like, to really, really succeed in school. You kind of need that shit. And by focusing policy sort of around that, I think we start leading to a place that's really good. I will say AI and like the workforce is going to get absolutely fucked up in the next 75 years. So we'll see what happens then. But structuring around like what is like a lot of my personal politics and like policies is completely around like what is best for children to be in school and learn. And it's like everything I want is sort of dominoed from that. Well, like I want their like family to be happy and like supportive and whatnot. Well, what's the best way to do that? Well, their parents probably need good social skills, so we need to develop those somehow. Or like the kids need good social skills so their kids can have good families at least. And like what gets rid of a lot of stress for kids and families is having more money or better purchasing power. And that's where a lot of my economic policy comes from, and what I think is like good, I would call it guideposts of where I would like our like a lot of our country to end up in. And you know, I'm a real believer of like no kid left behind, not in the sense that we're gonna auto pass everyone, but that like every kid should be given equal consideration for what they need to in order to succeed, and actually be given what they need in order to succeed. And I just think once we start doing that, and like, you know, That might happen in my lifetime. You might start thinking about it, but the domino effects of that are just going to be better, just everything better forever for future generations. Which, like, as a mortal, limited kind of guy, like, what better blessing than I could ask for than for all kids and their kids and their kids to live good childhoods and then grow up to live good adult lives. And, like, I don't know, there's so many people have I like my kids, although they really don't, but I don't really, like, fuck everyone else's kids type beat. And it's like, holy shit, I actually, like, despise you as a person. I think, like, God, if I could, like, Thanos snap people, it's like that sort of shit, where it's like, oh, like, this neighborhood is, like, poor or whatever, who cares what their kids in school need? They're not gonna be anything anyway. Kill yourself. Like, it's crazy. There's very few people I hate more than, like, people who diminish the value of good school and, like, the positive effects it has on people's lives. Anyway, I think that's about it. I could tell this one is a little more, way more loosey-goosey than even the last two. I kind of jumped some topics around, so if you want to ask, I don't know, if you ever watch this and you have clarifying questions or something was a little confusing, feel free to ask, because it's a lot easier to think of proper, what I was really trying to say as, like, not live in the moment stream of conscious, but in, like, a formatted response to a certain question. So I would love to do that. But, until then, thank you all for watching. I'm not going to have one tomorrow. I might have one Saturday. And then next week I'll have one. And not one Sunday. And then next week I might have a few. So until then, we'll see. Goodbye.